So I'm an INTP, as you know, and I already made a video on Trickster SE, but the more I thought about it, there are things that I definitely did not talk about in that video, which I'm going to talk about now. Now, Trickster SE, I'm starting to think of it as it's basically just fucking dyspraxia, bro. And I'm not an expert or anything, but from like what I understand is that like dyspraxia is basically like this thing where somebody kind of has a struggle like navigating like the sensory world, quote unquote. And like at least it definitely does relate to me as I've like gone through like my life, and I guess I don't know how to see myself from a third person perspective, I guess. Well, I mean, nobody can, I imagine, but I guess being looked at as weird in the sense of like your physicality, I think a lot of that is essentially like the embodiment of like dyspraxia. That's why that's there to begin with. Throughout my life, people have told me that I run really weird, which I still don't really know what that's about. I mean, I could easily see it if I like record a video of myself like running, quote unquote, and then maybe I would have like a better understanding of like why people are saying that. But that's something that I've heard, occasionally, like here and there, whenever, yeah, I guess I would be running. And I don't know if that's something that like everybody gets told, but from like what I know in terms of like, oh, dyspraxia, your physicality is like strange and like awkward compared to like most people. So I don't know, I would at least like attribute it to that. And in my last video, I spoke about how like I don't exactly know how to define my sensory experiences like properly, because when I go through my life, my thoughts feel like a sensory experience. I mean, that probably doesn't even like make any sense, but like in that video, I said something along the lines of like, okay, do I make my sensory experiences like because of my thoughts, or are my sensory experiences shaping what I think when I think my thoughts? I don't know, man. It's just like super strange because, oh yeah. Also, even when I've just been like chilling and like not really doing anything, like not even like running where someone can say, "Oh, you run in like a weird fashion." I've been, I don't know, I guess in like certain like weird or awkward looking angles to other people, because I've been asked the question, "Oh, how are you comfortable in that position?" And I'm just like how do you even respond to something like that? Because obviously if like I don't know, I had a problem with the position that I was in, like you wouldn't have to question me about it, because I'm not going to put myself through like a position that I'm in that would like make me, you know, uncomfortable, which I guess is, yeah, like okay, for them it would be uncomfortable. So that's why they're asking that question. But it's like to be asked that, like how, like how are you supposed to like go about it? Because like it's strange to me, because I know that when people are asking me something like that, they're, well, actually I don't even know, because like I'm interpreting this in like so many ways. It's like I feel like that's just an indirect way, maybe even like a polite way of saying that, like, you know, bro, the way you like chill and relax is like super fucking strange and weird. Or maybe they are asking, I don't even fucking I don't even fucking know. But at least like, yeah, bro, the sensory world is like so fucking like strange, quote unquote, because like I don't know, I've always struggled with like coordination like throughout my life. So this is why, yeah, like the more I keep thinking of it, I kind of just feel like Trickster SE is basically just like dyspraxia, at least in like my experience. If you're an INTP or like an INFP, like go ahead and like tell me if like a lot of these things are something that like you can relate with. Because like, oh, speaking of like struggles in like the sensory world, I used to have a hard time tying my shoes. I think it took me like way longer than like most people. So I think at like one point I kind of just asked my dad for like Velcro shoes, because I didn't want to like deal with the fucking, laces. But I also remember that when I got fucking Velcro shoes, whenever I would like, place the thingy on, I would never be comfortable with like the position in terms of like how I did it. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just something that like other people wouldn't have like necessarily thought about, and like it wouldn't have been like a big deal to them, but like I don't know. I remember when I would have Velcro shoes, I used to like mess with them a lot. And I even got like into trouble here and there because I would like annoy the shit out of some people constantly, like with the shoes, because like I just wanted to fix the angle, because I would like layer it, and I would think to myself like, okay, like this is it, or like I would look at it from like various angles, and I would never feel satisfied with it. So yeah, I would constantly like mess with it, like, and I'm just like, how? Like, it was just unfortunate because I thought to myself like, okay, I wouldn't have to deal with like laces anymore. But now that I have these like stupid Velcro shoes, oh, here comes another issue, and I'm just like, so my relationship with my sensory input has always been strange because I've gone through my life being like super irritated where I would get this feeling where I don't know, there'd be like ants crawling throughout like my brain or something, if I can like explain it in a way that has somewhat of a, oh, this is super fucking like annoying or something. Because when I would go through my life, every single time I would like take in sensory input, let's say, like I don't know, let's say I'm outside and I can hear people talking, I can hear cars going by, I can hear birds, I can hear you know all the, I don't know, let's just say like typical sounds that you would expect from like being outside. And it would make it difficult for me to like process the thoughts like in my head, because I wouldn't really be able to like hear my you know inner monologue. And I think like this is the SE clash with like my dominant TI. But then in like other moments, my thoughts would also be like super fucking loud. And yes, even my thoughts themselves can feel like they're the ants crawling all over my head instead of like sensory input. And it would make paying attention to like the outside world like super difficult. And it was like really strange because I would go through my life and I'd be like, okay, what do I actually want to pay attention to more, like outside sensory stimulus, or I guess my thoughts in terms of like what I think about the outside sensory stimulus and like whatever is happening to like the world around me. But then again, they would all be happening at once. So like I don't know, maybe it's not necessarily like my thoughts are trying to like override the sensory input, or like the sensory inputs trying to like override the inner monologue of like whatever like my thoughts are. They would be constantly like mushing and like mashing together, and it's just like, oh my fucking god. But yeah, I guess there you go, like SE trickster problems in my words.